In a stunning twist at the LNP convention in Brisbane, Peter Dutton, the once unstoppable force of Australian politics, gets a thunderous standing ovation from hundreds of adoring party faithful, only to drop a bombshell that leaves everyone gasping. At just 54, he's calling it quits forever, claiming he's too old to stage a comeback. Could this be the end of an era? Or is there more to his abrupt exit than meets the eye? Hit that like button now and subscribe for the raw truth on Aussie power plays that shape our world. Peter Dutton's journey from a tough Queensland cop patrolling the streets of Brisbane in the 1990s to the pinnacle of federal politics reads like a blockbuster thriller, filled with high-stakes battles and unexpected turns. Born in 1970 in the working-class suburb of Boondall, young Peter grew up idolising his policeman father and joined the Queensland Police Service right after school, serving nearly a decade where he dealt with everything from drug busts to domestic violence calls, experiences that would later harden his no-nonsense stance on law and order. By 2001, at age 30, he stormed into federal parliament as the Liberal MP for Dixon, a seat he'd hold for 24 years, quickly rising through the ranks under John Howard as Minister for Employment Participation, pushing welfare-to-work reforms that aimed to drag people out of dependency but drew fire for being too harsh on the vulnerable. Fast forward to the tumultuous years under Abbott, Turnbull, and Morrison. Dutton became the iron-fisted Minister for Home Affairs, overseeing immigration crackdowns, border protection ops that stopped thousands of boat arrivals, and even a brief stint as Defence Minister where he ramped up AUKUS commitments, strengthening ties with the US and UK that Aussies like us rely on for security in the Indo-Pacific. But here's the shocker that rocked the nation. In 2022, after Morrison's defeat, Dutton clawed his way to the top as opposition leader, the first Queenslander to lead the Liberals, promising to bulldoze Labor's policies on energy, housing, and migration. His campaign was fierce, channeling a Trump-like bravado with hardline rhetoric on tariffs, Indigenous voice rejection, and economic nationalism, but it backfired spectacularly in the May 2025 federal election. The coalition suffered a crushing landslide loss, shedding 15 seats nationwide, and in a personal gut punch, Dutton himself was ousted from Dixon by Labor's Ali France, a para-athlete turned advocate, marking the first time an opposition leader lost their own seat. Whispers in Westminster, "Wait, make that Canberra," suggested internal party fractures, with moderates blaming his radical right alliances with One Nation for alienating swing voters worried about cost of living and global trade wars. Yet, just 3 months later, on August 22, 2025, Dutton emerges from the shadows for a rare public sighting at the LNP convention. Seated humbly at the back amid a sea of red, he soaks in tributes from Susan Ley, his former deputy, who gushes about his courage and conviction, admitting she often asks herself, what would Peter do? Outgoing President Lawrence Springborg chimes in, declaring Dutton would have been PM with a 4-seat majority if Queensland's strong two-party preferred win over 50% had swept the nation. The crowd erupts in applause, hailing him as a great son of the party, but when pressed by reporters on a potential return, Dutton's response stuns, "No mate, I'm too old for that." At 54, the same age as many thriving leaders worldwide, this admission feels like a deflection from the election's brutal reality, his awkward gaffes, like botching egg prices in debates or accidentally whacking a cameraman with a footy, had already painted him as out of touch. But is age really the culprit? Or is this a strategic retreat to avoid further humiliation while he eyes a behind-the-scenes role mentoring the next generation? As Ley and Nationals' David Littleproud take the reins, praising their great job, Dutton vows to support from afar, dedicating his quarter-century legacy to ensuring the party's best days ahead. For Aussies watching from afar, this moment raises burning questions. With Dutton sidelined, will the coalition pivot to a softer image under Ley, or stick to his hardline blueprint on migration and defence that bolsters our AUKUS partnerships? And what about the ripple effects on everyday folks? Higher energy bills under Labor, or Dutton's ghost influencing opposition attacks? The plot thickens as internal rifts simmer, with Reddit forums buzzing that the public, not age, ruled him out, calling his loss a rejection of outdated bigotry. Yet, in a surprising nod to grace, Dutton maintains a dignified silence post-election, unlike fiery predecessors. Here on Aussie Political Updates, we are dissecting how this farewell reshapes the opposition's fight against Albanese's agenda, from budget battles to climate pledges. But hold tight, the real intrigue lies in whether Dutton's too-old excuse holds water, or if unseen forces are pulling strings for a quiet influence that could swing future polls. As Queensland's coalition stronghold holding 16 of 30 seats gears up under Premier David Crisafulli's recent state victory, Dutton's shadow looms large, promising twists that could redefine national discourse. Now, let's unravel the deeper layers of Peter Dutton's dramatic blowout. Because this isn't just a retirement, it's a seismic shift in Australia's political landscape that could echo from Canberra to our shores down under. Since that convention MIC drop, pundits have been dissecting Dutton's too-old quip like a crime scene, with many pointing to the election's autopsy. A Trump effect backlash where his tariff threats and right-wing flirtations spooked markets and voters alike, leading to swings against the coalition in key states. Remember, Dutton positioned himself as the tough guy to handle a volatile world, citing his home.